it's Kat. Today we're exploring my favorite city, Paris, the city of lights. It's everything you've imagined and more. Historical sites, beautiful architecture, sidewalk cafes, decadent food, and contrary to what you might have heard, friendly people. Beauty in Paris is endless. I'd wanted to see Paris since I was a child, but it took me a long time to get there. I finally made it when I was living in Russia and I needed to renew my visa. You can renew your visa at any Russian consulate around the world, so I decided to do Paris. It can take 3 to 5 days to get your visa, so I planned my trip for 8 days just to be sure. I was alone for the first 2 days and the last 2 days.
And my friend Joanne joined me for the middle 4 days. She was working in London for the summer and came to Paris before heading back to the U.S. I stayed in the 7th arrondissement, or district, at the Hotel Relais-Bosquet, a welcoming, small 3-star hotel located on a quiet street. The rooms and bathrooms were clean and larger than the European standard, and the staff were very friendly and helpful. The desk clerks were always smiling and were helpful when giving directions or making dinner reservations for their guests. The hotel is a 10-minute walk from the Eiffel Tower, close to the École Militaire metro stop, and Rue Claire, a pedestrian-only street lined with brick-and-mortar stores, as well as a daily outdoor market. The area is full of shops to buy wine, meats, and cheeses, if you prefer eating picnic style.
I found Parisians to be friendly and helpful. The waiter at Le Café du Marché didn't bat an eyelash when I ordered my meal in French and Joanne ordered hers in English. And he was very encouraging when I ordered a carafe of house wine, even though my grammar was off. I have several examples of Parisians being helpful, but I won't bore you with those details. But just know that if you need help, somebody will be there to help you, even if you need to pantomime or, just use a little bit of French. Along with that, it is helpful to learn just a small amount of French before you go. I would like, where is the, thank you, excuse me, please. Words like that, just short phrases, will really help make your trip that much more enjoyable. Now, the food, it's amazing. I will give you the same advice that was given to me by multiple people. Eat everything. Seriously, the French use the best and freshest ingredients, and they don't skimp on the details. Everything I ate was delicious. Even the sandwich I got from a street vendor had the freshest bread and the freshest vegetables and the best meat that I've ever had on a sandwich. There are many good restaurants near the relais-bosquet in the 7th, including La Terrasse and Le Café du Marché just down the street. And La Fontaine de Mars is a few short blocks away.
As a bonus, there's a wonderful pastry shop, Le Notre, on Avenue de la Motte Piquet, conveniently located at the exit of the metro station École Militaire.
They had tempting cakes and pastries in the window each day and smaller single-portion versions inside. They also have a lovely assortment of French macarons. Macarons are not the coconut macaroons that Americans are used to, but a light sandwich cookie made from almond flour and egg whites filled with ganache, buttercream, jam, and other delectable delights. They're amazing. Another patisserie, Lauderie, is generally regarded as having the best macarons in Paris, and they claim to have created them in 1862. But I've had macarons from both places and prefer those from Le Notre. Lauderie has a nicer looking shop and looks to be modeled after late 19th century tea room. Le Notre, although very nice, looks like a typical pastry shop. So, if you want ambiance, try Lauderie, and if you want the better macaron, try Le Notre. A simple corner cafe, Le Café du Marché, was full of locals when we arrived. We sat on the patio and were served by a wonderful waiter. This was a waiter who easily switched from English to French and was delighted when I ordered my wine in French, though I struggled a little and he was very encouraging. I had a good steak with fried potatoes and Joanne had roast chicken. We both thoroughly enjoyed our meals and I had every intention on eating there again, but I wasn't able to fit it into the schedule. Le Café du Marché is not a place that you would wait in line for, but you'll get a good meal with good wine and friendly staff.
I read good reviews of La Fontaine de Mars when I was researching my trip. It was close, partway between the hotel and the Eiffel Tower, and I decided to try it. I hadn't made reservations, so we arrived a little before they opened, and they were able to accommodate us. The host looked concerned when we didn't have a reservation, but then said we could have the table for 2 hours, as that was when the reserved diners would arrive. I thought 2 hours was plenty of time, and we were seated. The restaurant is small and cozy, and it was another place that seemed to be frequented by locals. I ordered the roast duck, which was the evening special. I don't remember what Joanne had, but she was happy with it. The desserts were excellent, and we drank the house red wine, which was also very good. Although 2 hours had seemed like plenty of time for dinner, we could have easily stayed there for another hour. The time went very quickly, and we were surprised at how late it was when the host gently informed us that the next party had arrived. I don't have strong memories of this dinner, but we were quite happy with the experience as we wandered back to the hotel. La Terrasse is located on the corner of Avenue de la Motte-Piquet and Avenue Bosquet, a short walk from the relais-bosquet. La Terrasse is a good corner cafe. The waiters were friendly, the food was good and well priced, and they had a good selection of wine. I ate here twice, once with Joanne and once alone.
On my second visit, the waiter comped me a couple of appetizers, including a bowl of exquisite olives, and told me to stay there as long as I wanted. I was there for about 2 to 3 hours, sitting at a window table, enjoying the meal and watching Paris life stroll by. I had the steak with fries and creme brulee for dessert, and coffee. Everything was delicious. Le Terrasse is not a cafe that would warrant going out of your way for, but if you're in the area, it's definitely worth a visit. From my experience and what I've read from others, these restaurants are typical in France, small neighborhood restaurants with good food and good service. I'm sure you'll find similar restaurants wherever you stay in Paris.
Le Trembleu was my fancy dinner of the trip. I wanted a place with ambiance and tradition, great food and wine, and which would be a night to remember. Le Trembleu fit the bill. Located in the Lyon train station, the Gare de Lyon, this ornate and gilded restaurant is a throwback to grander times. The restaurant is gorgeous with beautiful paintings and gilded curiosities throughout. The food and service matched the beauty of the surroundings, and it was one of the better meals I've had. The meal started with their house-smoked Scottish salmon, blinis, and creme fraiche, and a glass of champagne. For the entree, I had a perfectly cooked steak with mashed potatoes and a 2002 Chateau de Montelly Pinot Noir. Dessert was a custard and wafer cake, espresso, and dainties. If I'd realized what dainties were, I wouldn't have ordered an actual dessert.
My plan was to get a box and take the dainties back to the hotel for later. The waiters had other ideas. You may have heard that in France and other areas in Europe, when you reserve a table, it's yours for the evening. They don't schedule in 90-minute segments as American restaurants do. They expect that you will be at the table the entire evening. My plan was to catch my waiter's eye and ask for a to-go box. The problem was, my waiter was purposely ignoring me. I tried to catch the eye of another waiter, but that didn't work either. I could have spoken up and gotten his attention, but I was enjoying the evening and it wasn't that big of a deal. I'm not sure how long I sat there, sipping my coffee, nibbling on the dainties, but it was very relaxing. As soon as I finished my last bite, my waiter suddenly appeared and inquired if I would like anything else. He'd just been waiting for me to finish. I had an amusing encounter as I was leaving. I was wearing a simple pair of kitten heels, black, with some colored gemstones on the straps. And as I was walking down the stairs to the metro, there was a drunk Frenchman who was walking up the stairs, staring at his own feet as he carefully walked from the metro. As we passed on the stairway, he glanced over at my shoes and made a very appreciative "ooh" sound, and then carefully continued up the stairs, still staring at his own feet. It was a funny ending to a fantastic evening.
The Eiffel Tower was much larger and imposing than I thought it would be. It's also far more beautiful than I'd realized. I'd only seen distant shots before, in order to fit the entire tower in the photo, of course. But those photos didn't convey the actual size. It is massive. I didn't climb the tower, but would like to on my next visit. If you plan on taking the elevator up the tower, get there early. I was there in August, when the city traditionally shuts down, and there are fewer tourists, and there was a long line for the elevators. Even if you don't like the Eiffel Tower, or think it's unattractive, you really do need to make a visit, even if just to walk around and under it. It's an amazing construction. It's also spectacular at night. The lights are on from sunset to 1 a.m., or 2 a.m. in the summer, and to mark each hour, the lights dance for 5 minutes. Since I was there last, they added light beams coming off the top. I've posted a link to one of its webcams where you can watch the show. The tower sits at the end of a grassy park, and there were people picnicking in the tower's shadow. It's a nice place to sit and relax. You can also catch one of the Seine River cruise boats just next to the tower. Going north across the Seine, you'll find the Arc de Triomphe. You can approach from the south or from the east, walking up the Champs-Élysées. There probably aren't many people who haven't heard of the Louvre. Once a palace, now a museum, the Louvre is a collection of masterpieces housed in a masterpiece. The museum is so large you really need 2 to 3 days to properly see it, but you can catch the highlights in a day, so don't miss it if you only have a limited amount of time. The exhibits encompass everything from ancient to modern, Europe to the South Pacific, including the Mona Lisa, Winged Victory of Samothrace, Venus de Milo, and this guy. Lines can get very long, so get there early to avoid the worst of the crowds, or buy your tickets online and bypass the crowds altogether. Building began on Notre Dame in 1163, on the site of an earlier cathedral, which in turn was built on an earlier pagan temple. The building was completed in 1250, but underwent expansion in the 14th century, and more modifications were carried out in the 17th and 18th centuries. Notre Dame is a beautiful building, both inside and out. The front of the cathedral looks dramatically different from the back. There are intricate and interesting carvings everywhere you look, and there is a lovely garden in the back. Inside the cathedral, you'll find the famed rose window and other beautiful examples of stained glass, along with more beautiful stone carvings. Montmartre is the highest point in Paris and is a great place to see the city. Many famous artists had studios in Montmartre, including Salvador Dali, Claude Monet, Pablo Picasso, Vincent van Gogh, and of course, Henri de Lautrec. The Moulin Rouge and Le Chat Noir were located on the hill, and the area developed into quite the party scene at the end of the 19th century. Sacre-Coeur was built on the top of Montmartre between 1875 and 1914. The area's peculiar mixture of the sacred and profane, with a basilica, other holy sites, nightclubs, and partygoers living side by side. There are tons of one-of-a-kind shops on the walk from the metro to the base of the hill. To reach the top, in Sacre-Coeur, you can either climb a series of stairs or take the handy funicular. Once to the top, you can visit the basilica and wander the streets of Montmartre. I suggest visiting Sacre-Coeur first and then visiting the artists and food shops that line the paths leading away from the church to the neighborhood streets.
Practically everywhere you look in Paris, there's going to be something different, something interesting to look at.
This is a public water fountain next to the Seine. There used to be a lot of them, but now there are only a few left. There's a constant stream of fresh water running down the middle of the sculpture. You just need a cup or a water bottle to catch it. This building has an Art Deco metal facade. In the Place de la Concorde, there is a beautiful fountain of river commerce and navigation, one of the two Fontaines de la Concorde created in 1840, and a 3,300-year-old Egyptian obelisk dedicated to Ramses II, which once marked the entrance to the Luxor Temple, and was given to France by the Egyptian government. Some of the metro signs are works of art. The indoor shopping mall, Galeries Lafayette, is in a beautiful building with a stained glass dome. There's random interesting art. And of course, the lovely River Seine, where you can take a leisurely boat ride, walk the banks, or simply sit on a bridge and people watch.
As you can see, Paris is a beautiful city with great food. I hope to make it back soon, and I hope you do too. Please click like if you liked this video, click subscribe if you'd like to stay in touch. Web links are in the description, and until the next time, enjoy your adventures. Au revoir!